Hello developers, welcome back to .NET Ramana. Most .NET developers learn Entity Framework core first. It's a powerful, easy and productive. But when applications grow, performance becomes critical. Yes or no? That's where Dapper comes in. In this video, I will explain what is Dapper is, why it exists, how it's different from Entity Framework core, and we will write real code in Visual Studio 2026, and you can identify whether the enterprise application is used Dapper or not. Okay, first we will see what is ORM and Entity Framework Core. For this, I already did a separate video. If anyone didn't watch, go and watch it. But here I will explain briefly. Okay, first let's understand ORM. ORM simple definition is object relational mapping. It converts database rows into C# objects automatically. What it does, converts database rows into C# objects automatically. Okay. Entity framework, full ORM. Entity framework is the full ORM. Uses link query, track entity changes, handles relationships. Okay. So example idea you can see on the screen db.users where x.is active.toList. It is like entity framework core using the link queue. So using the link queue. Okay. So entity framework is excellent for a CRUD based application. CRUD based application. CRUD CRUD. We did one video. You can watch in a channel. Okay. Now you understand what is ORM, what is entity framework core. Okay. Now we will see what is the Dapper very clearly. Okay. Dapper is a micro ORM. Dapper is what? A micro ORM. It does only one job. What it does? Only one job. Map SQL query result to C# objects. So it will complete result query results to C# objects. Okay. But what it does, what is that entity framework core? It will uses the link query and it will converts database rows into C# objects. Okay. Key points we need to remember for this Dapper is no change tracking, no link query. You write SQL yourself. Extremely fast. Extremely So we will see one real-time example to understand what is entity framework core and what is Dapper. So think like this: entity framework is automatic core. Dapper is manual core. What is the advantage of manual core? More control, more speed. More control, more speed. Like that. You remember this in your mind. Now we will see the difference entity framework core versus Dapper clearly in the table format. You can see on the screen features entity framework core Dapper. So future, if you consider ORM type, so it will become full ORM. Entity framework is the full ORM. Dapper is the micro ORM. Query style, it use the link queue, it use the direct SQL. Change the tracking. So any tracking it will do, entity framework definitely it will track that. But Dapper no. Performance wise, entity framework is medium, Dapper is very high. That's why enterprise applications use Dapper more. Okay. Next to control on SQL, limited control, but it is has Dapper has full control. Best for crude applications, but a high performance rates. Okay. So now we can conclude that Dapper is not a replacement for entity framework core. Remember that Dapper is not at all replacement. Okay. It's a specialist tool. It's a specialist tool. Real world use cases, if you see, right, use of entity framework core when we need to use is admin panels, forms and crude, rapid development, small to medium apps. Use Dapper when reporting modules, dashboards, APIs with heavy reads, finance or trading apps, large data sets, files, bulk uploads. So in real projects, we often use both together. Okay. Now we will go like Visual Studio 2026. Let's do it practically. Okay, let's do it practically. Okay, so I opened the Visual Studio 2026. Now I am going with continue with without code. Okay, now here I am going to create a new project or solution. You have to click here. What we are going to select is ASP.NET Core Web API. You have to select. Click on next. You can give like a project name as a okay Dapper demo. Okay, Dapper demo. I will show in this like, the difference how we can write the entity framework core as well as Dapper. Okay, .NET 10 only I am taking. I am going to click on create. Okay, so for Dapper, practically whenever you want to do right, you have to install the packages Dapper, and also we will interact with the SQL also, right? We have to do that also. Now what I'm going to is manage new get package. First install that. Okay, go to browser, search with DAPPR. Okay, Dapper. Okay, we got it. Okay, so install. So now I'm doing what? Installation of Dapper. Apply. So this is done. Next, what I'm going to is Microsoft dot entity framework 4. You can install this. And also Microsoft dot, these are the required packages. Okay, every developer has to do this. Data dot SQL client, SQL client install. Okay, now packages install is done. Okay, now what we are going to do is we will create a model. Okay, create a folder called models. So real time applications, we will create a separate class library domain. So in this domain we will create all the folders, but for a demo purpose I am showing here. Okay, so here I'm going to give class name as a employee, employee.cs. Okay, so I already copied some properties. I am taking those properties here. Sorry, copy. For time being I copied that, control paste. Okay, now connection string also we need to do, right, to interact with that. So app setting, you go that. So there is a connection string I have already. So in our previous session also we used this product DB, right? So same thing we can use, or create a separate one. Okay, create a separate just. Okay, so we can use a demo DB something or Dapper DB. Okay, Dapper DB. Okay, something I given for this. Okay, now I am going to create a repository. Okay, so right click on this, create one folder, repository. Okay, repository, one folder I created. In this, I'm going to add one class called employee repository. What is that? Employee repository dot cs. Okay, so I already copied some properties. I'm taking those properties here. So employee repository, copy this. So this is where the Dapper comes in. This is where the Dapper comes in. See, 1 minute. What is this? Using Dapper. See, it is asking. So this is the main for the Dapper. This is main for the Dapper. See what we are doing here. Understand that Dapper how we can create. So in another case, you can directly use the SQL query. See, so connection string I'm taking. So using where connection equal to new connection string. Dapper, how it is Dapper always use micro ORM, right? Directly we will use SQL query. SQL query. You can do like this, or you can do one where SQL equal to, okay, this one, and so you can remove this, okay, just okay, here we can give SQL, okay, you can give SQL, anything you can do like this. So the query command in our control, okay, that is the control, okay, like this you can do in the Dapper. Anything if you identify like this query, it is written after that connection dot query sync, query async and all we use, right? These are the Dappers. These are the Dapper. So like this you can identify that. So now what we can do is controller we need to modify, right? So this one I can modify the controller name as a employee, or you can keep anything. So naming should be proper. As a developer, naming convention is mandatory. What if I ask me, I will always say that is what, okay, employees controller, yes, okay. So here what you do is we have already some code for employee controller. Copy this one, okay, so paste it here, okay. So here what you do, you call that get all. So you call it this method there. So this is what in control, everything it will be controller only, right? That's what. So now this is pure SQL plus mapping. No DB context, no tracking. So maximum performance. Maximum, this is the performance. Okay. Now same sample example with entity framework core also we can see that. Entity framework core also we can see that. How we can see is, so let me, can I create here only in the repository only? So or we can create that. So what I will do is, so here only I will write to identify public. Actually we need to do separate to understand. I'm writing app. So app db context inherited from db context, okay, inherited from db context. So from here what you can do is public db set, okay, employees get set. So just tab it, okay. Now here only like we can do that, what we can do is we can inherit it from this one. So how we can write is public, not here, sorry, 1 minute, public, or we can create it as a controller, let's say that. So I have already code, right? So I can copy this, copy here, and go to controller and paste it here, okay, paste it here. So because this context we need to create it, right? So what is this context, where is the context, db context, right? App db context, this one. For this I need to use the Dapper repositories. So we get already method is there, so we can call get F. Okay, get F. See. So here entity framework is simpler. Okay, it is simple, but internally does more work. Okay, internally does more work. But here it is very simple. This is the way Dapper and entity framework do that. Decision rule is very important. Writes and CRUD operations use entity framework core. Reads and performance use for the Dapper. Okay, senior developers don't choose tools emotionally. They choose based on use case. Based on the use case. Okay, summary you will see that Dapper is not better than entity framework core. Entity framework is not better than Dapper. Okay. They solve different problems. If you understand when to use each, you are already above average as a .NET developers. Okay. Like if this helped, subscribe for real .NET architecture videos. Comment Dapper if you want entity framework core plus a Dapper hybrid architecture, interview questions, and a real production patterns. Thank you, friends. Thank you.